macharo pa the district local government tini wajolo team mawa ki office of the prime minister kun bino megi gubino amina duki ko teach pa the district local government tiu magalim malip rio kipiera rio werio kibene me bino ka nyoto piene kar ma kibedo ka timo assessment kibedo ka kweto kin mati du woro kere teach manual ma kibedo ka teach kwere ga mental tawon ki kera la ala ye ke lokani mwagani ni madon wa chawa chera nyimi kidma ke bitimo kere ke kwera menano ko teach ka mental gubedo pat umirwangi office of prime minister NET directly in charge menano the general performance by operation by local government the lower local government and then upper local government many yeti lok mo wa ka maternity don ngo ma wa government duty je government twalo lim mo ka mo local government ministries agencies kidul mapat pat na chumi don pere technique mero bino nan ni lim en tiuri ni department mapat pat where ya area ma join ku kero kom gi minano kidati yo work area me p area me irrigation area me environment area me yotcom area ma lokom kwan kidong genbero na lokom human resource lokom lutich pa de tini ni wenleti ya di department me
okay this is exactly the same how they are
donc kay neno kitma journey gen go team assessment ni kere neuro numero 1 macharo pa de ikom local government ni achiel gi piero abiriyo gi achiel mage timo gi kwera mane ye mage timo mwaka ki mwaka wano bedo na mapiero bung'wen wi abiriyo kuno a kina wa 100 ki apar bung'wen mwaka limbe libariyo gi piero abiriyo matien loke noni wamede wadugo piny manok iket mitij mamewa onyono ruom mitij wa oyile omero malo mete malo eno kere ka bedi ruom mitij wa oyile malo ka ineno piero bung'wen wi abiriyo ikom 100 gi piero abiriyo wi abichiel tien loke ne pod tij wa miro wamed kero achiel malo donc ka ineno eni ne nyuro ningo the parameters abichiel mana kwano pigini the department me micro irrigation watimo maber tien loke wano limo medo the department me water and environment watimo maber tien loke ni wano limo medo the department me yotcom kachiel ki puonye ki lokom lutich pe watimo maber to twal tien loke ni score mamewa ti below national average and kati below national average in the whole country they look at be losing chene mama knock the doctor joni but kiguma be chilling mo one losing macharo per the departments are there the departments are here mother were scoring so highly above the national average udwa olim mano me one losing keeper day we don't know chilling you will lim one down no me no macharo local government donc neno wa macharo district tini one neno wa madit mate tien lock mapire te omera moderator ki won lo in radio kache ministry in your office of the prime minister bino timo parameter ilok man me yotcom ilok man me ponye ilok man me kwan chigi kero lokom lutich and yet ki minister of public service no ki geo cho lutich wao pien kai tigi head of department mate substantive well marks minority assistant mate substantive well marked minority ero kombercha minister of public service ujogo ki gang major lutich wao ikarwan further na done local government 2021 to my big 19th of May one no gap matie ket paloti an watoto wecho lutich do mia ngwan ki piara dek weche mermo weche manye wa promoting mia chiel ki piara bit ngwan mokane miri watie ni meno gankal madit mala local lutich kumini wa lim kumini wa twer o minister of finance kumini wa lim wacho lutich do met malo pien kalo titima no areas in weng parameter mage kelo ni weng nyalo lutich lutine so target rome achiel tin no bel lutich malo target rome ariyo tini kaini neno i department me puonye one potting maber to albert ngonu we ko watimo maber lufueni me wan wacho gini put peramo we lufueni mo mero weng o we odong wakate ni all the head teachers kita chon kitimo ni log me kato ching i performance agreement head teacher achiel mirgo nene eni kero chie ke pade manyuru ne meno ene bi dok kayilo kero me puonye school mamege dogo chiru tiyo kore but kere ga head teacher oket chie i performance agreement ke district put wa ticket teach maluak ma mewa kin paj mer guti lu nyal mer guti ko rigi school management committee mer guti ko rigi ka che ge PTA members mer guti ko rigi kar mu karange kele walok mer ye structures gi men school management committee and PTA members wa timu dong in most of the schools wa biner mani wa mete mal wa mi ni jore ponye kunu wa lego jo magen chuni ko wala bulletin wal vision de ko nyoy kar mu karange keep training joni wa mete wo ke health unit management committees egine yu wigi gan pan egine yu wigi wadia wek luak go tiyo korgi lutic go tiyo korgi kwan lo tero tiyo korgi ma dugi lok me yot kom gankal madit maloyo ponye maloyo lokom lutic kim nyotewa alaga amati structures pa lutic matin lo ken yurne ken ne by standards right now one lutic pa de department yot ko no 30% that we bor in total over 100 till lo ken government mirone even in health center 3 doctor lutic. But at the moment, how many doctors do we have in per day? Only 4. And we have 13 health center 3s. How many do we need in Bajul Health Center 4? So te look at when you teach more paying a department may not come. Still, do all we are for performance to be there. Loak meron any one job may year, 1 year, check when one walk with the year, and a ching wapo good be more can. Te look at Jomi, the ching you guri, the one who betty year and you teach. So, Piman, well, no one required paying. We want to do recruitment. 2, we may not teach work like city and behaviors which are really not necessary. When can you be assessment meeting any? Even though the teacher Mapol, Mabere Pera Mero Kampala. The ball leg in a period of law is reporting. Now, apart from recruitment, intention material Machalo district, we are improving on management, reporting, and management of our data. And that only with quality data, not just data. Ti lokene lo premier assessment wale ne umirgene am geno time kage penyi gankwan ni school management committee go beru pen yiro wale oberu ki wale ngoma nyuro ti lokene minat miro betie. That means umiro one wa yil care wa maro ilok me miro report ki go record mamewa report writing and then management of that record pire tech and experience of a local government ginmano na ti pa oloy eni go record down to go. So kaya neno jema det ma wale pigi mi achiel recruitment mario waneno long man me kit down lutic mir gulok kit guti ki mir gi weng me mino services bodwa and then managing reporting and management of reports and then stakeholder chile guti teacher penene ne po ber tic panga chiel eno ber tic padano weng do tic pa in pegi yare na chima in me choe wo in me ti tedero mai town e peti wo gi mo ti la pu ti wo iti ber ki makatalo mi ti latin military gan kwan imi kila tin jima mete kage weni wanu mi quality ponye gamento bu yuwa kwan yubu choron maybe you library bu choy le foni mi chere school ka in la nyal pe wiro bo ki kalam pala tin tin no performance pala tin to be mo be. That means all stakeholders may run it wakachiel we teaching ko woro chera ni but all in all finyo yom ne our team mete we chera ni biti maka mewa kari ka beti watiki pero Molo Tiguela did a ping and was scoring 97 out of 176 but we want to come below 50 in the next assessment. By the time we take time, below 20. We are aiming at coming back to number 1. Kaina no guri ka ka ne wati mo be why. Yo be ruping guna matut and king enemy. Immediate thing mo be team we be ruping mingi ngo mo we opu wati mo be yot ko. Ngo we opu wati mo be ponye king ngo mo mi wati what team are bad?
We are 2. One of our colleagues is about to reach. He left Kampala a bit late. That is number 1. 2, the Office of the Prime Minister, working with all the other line ministries. We have a national task force that the Office of the Prime Minister deployed across the country. For example, the 3 of us, we are handling 13 districts, starting with Nakasongola, Kiriadoko, then you come to Acholi, with the exception of this one is called what? Agago. Then we have also Ajumani. So when you total all those, you come to about 13 local governments. In the 13 local governments, we have 1 city, which is Gulu City, and 1 municipality, which is Ketkum municipality. The other team, for example, another team is in covering West Nile, the whole of West Nile, now excluding Ajumani. Then we have another team for Karamoja, which is working there, the whole of Karamoja. We have the next team covering Lamwo sub-region, but also including Kabaramaid. Then we have another team for Teso. We have another team for Elgon area, another one for Busoga. Then you come to central Uganda where we have about 2 teams. Then the others are in western. So the entire country is being covered within this period, which is from the 15th of July up to the 31st of July. In other words, we have half a month to do this work, and thereafter we go back and compile the report. But for the consultation on the manual, which is going to be used for assessment of the higher local governments, we are doing instant reporting. We collect the views of the district officials, then in the evening, we make our report and we submit. In other words, all the comments we have picked concerning the draft manual for assessment of the higher local governments, we submit them in the evening, that very day. Yes, so what has brought us here in general, or what the Office of the Prime Minister is doing within this period is, number one, we are disseminating the results, which is an annual thing we do yearly around this time. We start with the national dissemination. For this year, it took place on the 19th of June, presided over by the Prime Minister, but also on day 2, His Excellency the President was there. So after the national disseminations, we now descend to each and every local government. We bring to them their results and show them how they have performed. If you perform well, yes, it is good enough. If you have also not performed well, we still bring for you the results, but explain to you and ask you to do better the following time. So the result is important to be brought, and we explain to them. After we have finished our dissemination, 1 day per district, we now request the district official, first of all, to sit, the political wing and the technical wing should sit together and discuss these results for higher local government. For example, if it is per day, we expect the district council members to sit together with the technical team and go possibly page by page, word for word, like that, and see the areas where they did not perform well and also where they perform well, and come out with a plan for improvement. Normally they call them performance improvement plans. They develop those ones. Yes. You see, we have 2 areas, what we call the minimum conditions and performance measures. Under the minimum conditions, we look at, for example, a department, educations, and we look at the core staff, their availability. If it is engineering, we would want to see an engineer in place, a district engineer. Then below him, according to the structure, that person should also be there. And all the other core staff that form the basis for the minimum conditions. What you require in terms of personnel to deliver on the various activities or the plans you intend to do. Then under the performance measures, this is where we now go to what these people are supposed to do, in most cases on daily basis. So if it is engineering, we look at the supervisions. If there is a project, did they supervise? Did they follow the right criteria? Did they, all those nitty-gritties in what they do. And we score them according to what we have already discussed with them and we put in the manuals. So yes, we have 2 areas, minimum conditions, where generally we look at human resource, the inputs, and performance measures, what they do on daily basis. And before we do that, we normally come back. For example, we are coming back next month, which is August, I think, with the manual, and present the manual to them and tell them these are the what we are going to use for scoring you. So they know this thing. We bring the manual to them. We go through the manual to them. We go through the scores all together. And we also request them that before we return or before we send the consultant to assess you, first do a mock assessment. Do a mock assessment. Assess yourself using this document. So it is not only open book, but really they know everything. If it is the issue of work related and we want, for example, supervision report, monitoring and evaluation report, details of the design, etc., etc., all those are put clearly to them prior to the assessment. And we leave them with the assessment manual. And we tell them that between this period, this is when we are going to send the consultant to do this. And we do not only stop there, but even when the consultant is coming, we write to all the accounting officers of the local government and tell them that these are the period when the consultant will be coming. And we go ahead and put in the newspapers that for Padel, they will be around this date. For this district, they will be on this date. And the consultant is given 2 days to do the assessment within a district. Now, there has been challenge with that because within the 2 days, it is possible the district may not be in position to have all the necessary documentations and even personnel in place. But all the same, remember, we tell them in time, we request them to do a mock assessment. We even tell them that the consultant is coming on that day, then the consultant will come. Condition number one, after appearing in a district, they will of course go to the count, but they make what they call entry meeting. In the entry meeting, the consultant again will take the district official through that today I've come to your district to do the following, assess you on this, and with all the parameters clearly presented to the district. Then after that, they will do their work. Then from there, at the end of the 2 days, again they will meet in what they call the exit meeting. Then the consultant will take them through that, ladies and gentlemen, I've stayed with you for 2 days. It is time for me to go. These are the information I've captured based on the requirements. For example, if you're supposed to look at a report, let us say monitoring and evaluation report, you will say, for monitoring and evaluation report, I got that one tick. For appraisal form, I did not see. You need to do better. Then for the design, I've seen it. For the other school, it was okay. All the parameters. In other words, he will tell them their areas of weaknesses and where they have also done well. Then from there, they sign that document. The cow has to sign on behalf of the district, and the team leader of the consulting firm will sign. Now, you know, these consultants are a bit diplomatic. The moment they will start telling, you know, this area you need to do better, you just know that they have scored you 0. And they score you 0 with the justification. For example, if the issue is appraisal of staff, he will tell you whether he has got the appraisal forms or the file, and if so, whether the appraisal was done on time or not. All those are clearly stated, and that is what they do. Yes, we do this thing. It has generally is to incentivize the local government. And the way we do it is that when you perform better, in other words, your score is above the national average for a specific area. For example, if we are looking at health, and the average for health is, the national average for health is 57, and a district like Pader here has scored 70 or 75, then that means you are above the national average. You will be rewarded for that. Now, if it is health, then we consider all the amount of money which is coming to health, and we subject it to the formula in order to get the reward which is over and above the national average. Now, if you become below, if you score below the national average, then that is when we shall have problems with you. We shall subject the amount of money coming to the district, which is a figure, to our formula, and normally the end result will be a deduction. So if you have time, I will show you what happened for this financial year. So for each of the areas, DDEG, education, health, those ones, there are about 4 or 5 areas. We subject them to the formula, and the impact on the grants coming to those areas will either be positive or negative, but it is meant to incentivize them. So in summary, in a layman language, if you perform well, we reward you with some marks, and the marks will be in terms of money. And if you don't perform well, yes, we deduct some money from your, and I don't want to listen to this. For Padel, and the key areas, number one, we are going to start with education. So what happens is that they give you the money. So for education in Padel, they gave 185,158,629. Now, when we subjected this formula, this figure to our formula with the incentive, because they did not perform well, an amount of 35,507,450 was removed from their original budget. In other words, they ended up with around 149,651,179. So they lost money. In terms of percentage, under health and education, about 19%. Now, when you go to health, the impact was a bit big. The money they were given prior to subjecting it to our formula, they were given 107,173,867. But when we subjected this figure to our formula, they lost about 41 million. The actual figure is 41,747,831. That means the final figure they got was 65,426,36 shillings instead of 107. So the damage, the impact was about 39%. Now, when you go to water, water is where they did well as a district. They were supposed to get 505,234,514. But with the incentive, because they performed well underwater, they got 533,972,362. In other words, they added them because of good performance. They added them 28,737,848. So incentive were about 6%. When you come to DEC DDEG, equalization grant, they were supposed to get 332,510,604, but they deducted about 943,482. 943,492 because of poor performance. So they ended up getting 331,567,121. So Agric also did well. They were rewarded for doing good job. Instead of them getting 577,638,495, they got incentive of about 57,553,636, about 10%. So they moved from 577 million to 635,092,131. Now, as a district, the entire district, for the grants in those areas, they were supposed to get 1.707 billion. They ended getting 1.715 or 16 billion. So there was an increment of about 8 million to the district as a whole. So that is the impact. And that is how it is done across all the districts. But now if you look at maybe you're also interested, we're supposed to get 257,996,520. But because of the formula, they got about 230,851,323, meaning about 27 million was taken away because of not performing well. Then in health, that constitutes about 11%. In health, they were supposed to get 107,992,370, but they ended up getting about 61 million because about 46,531,266 was taken away because of not doing well. which that one constitutes about 43%. So when we go and look at the total for the district, they were supposed to get, in the original, they were supposed to get about 2 billion, but the actual figure is 1,961,664,529. But they ended up getting 1,520,730,652. So the extent of the damage, let me call it damage, but yes, that one, it is about 22% to the district. So they deducted about 440 million from the basket which should have gone to Lamwo. Yes.